We're back again with another soap. We are going to start off by adding our dry additives. We are doing kaolin clay and colloidal oats, a heaping tablespoon of each into the oils bucket. And we are going to use our tobacco and bay leaf fragrance. Blending up our dry additives and incorporating them into the oils. And then moving that off to the side, and we are going to start getting our goat milk cubes melted down with the lye. I have already portioned out this previous to the video, and it just takes a little bit to get it started. Basically, I just try and move the cubes around a little bit. And as you can see, it doesn't take too long for it to start melting down. Next, I want to get my colors ready. And I'm going to be pouring a little bit of sweet almond oil into my little cups here. And I'm just going to pour in my mica powders into the oil, and this helps disperse it a little bit better when we go to add it into the soap batter. The first one we're doing is a kind of a dark steel gray. And the next is going to be a green. So we have Alpine Green and Black Pearl are going to be the two colorants that we are using. And then I'm just going to mix these up and disperse the mica into the oil. And I'm just using a little frothing mixer. I love the way mica looks in oil. It's so pretty. Especially that green. And then now I'm going to set my colors off to the side and check on my lye solution here. And it is melting down really nicely. There are still quite a few little ice cubes in there. That's okay, we'll get those out. And now I'm going to add my sodium lactate to my lye solution. I do 3 teaspoons, and we are at 79 and 78 for our temperatures. And now we will add our lye mixture into our oils. And I like to pour that onto the spoon to help with splashing. And now we blend. And we want to get this batter to emulsion. We're going to go ahead and get our fragrance put in there. And I like to pour it down a pipette, that way the oil doesn't go all over the bottle as you're pouring it. And we'll put our fragrance away. It does discolor to a light tan, and it does behave well in cold process soap. Now we're going to pour off into a smaller pitcher, and this will be for one of our colors. And we'll set that off to the side, and then I will go and grab another small pitcher for the second color. And the batter is still pretty fluid. I am liking how this fragrance oil is acting. So I'm going to color one of the small ones with the Black Pearl Mica. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a buzz to make sure that it's not, the mica didn't settle to the bottom of the cup. And give that a quick little stir. And then the next color, which is the Alpine Green. I'm loving how this color turned out. It's a very pretty sage type green. And I'm just going to scrape down the sides and get ready to stick blend each of the containers to help thicken up the batter just a little bit. And then we'll move from the non-colored container over to the green. And we'll go ahead and blend up that green a little bit. Make sure that that colorant is all nice and incorporated through the whole container. And then we'll move over to the darker gray. And same thing, we want to go ahead and blend that up to make sure that everything is incorporated nicely. And then once it is all incorporated, I will go ahead and scrape off the stick blender, and then we will place that off to the side and we won't be coming back to it. So I want to make sure that I get all of that batter out of the stick blender. And then I'm just going to kind of check to see how the consistency is with the spatula there. It's still nice and fluid, which is a-okay. That's exactly what I want. And now I'm going to bring the mold over. And I'm going to wipe it down a tad here. It has some colors from a previous batch that I did. And we'll move our colors out of the way. And for this one, we are going to pour all of the white into the base of the mold. And I'm going to scrape out my entire bucket and make sure that all of that gets put into the mold, because we are not going to come back to this color. And I want this to be somewhat of a layered soap. I don't want it to be perfect layers, but I do want it to have some layers. So I'll go ahead and take this other little spatula, and I'm going to kind of mound up onto one side, kind of using the same method as I do for my swoop tops. And then I'm going to stir up the black. That's going to be our next color, or the dark gray. And I want to kind of flood that onto the top because I don't want it to break through that bottom layer. So I'm just carefully trying to get that into the mold. If it breaks through a little bit, that is okay. The layers, like I said, are not going to be perfect. And then what I want to do is I want to get as much of that into the mold as possible, but I do want to leave a little bit behind. And then once I got my amount that I want to leave behind, I'll go ahead and set that container off to the side, and I'm going to flatten out the dark gray color and make sure that it gets all in the corners and it's all nice and level. Same as I did on the bottom, I'm going to do kind of a little bit of a swoop top there and give that layer a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to scrape off my spatula and stir up my green. The fragrance is acting beautifully. Here I'm going to do the same thing by flooding it onto the top, trying not to break through that bottom layer. And it's all pretty much set up now, so I don't have to use the spatula to flood it on. And the green, I want to go ahead and scoop all of the green out because I'm not going to come back to the green. I do want to make sure that the top is nice and level. Making sure I get all of that green out of the container. And then I'm going to tap down that last little bit to make sure that it's all flat. And tap down the whole mold to make sure that there's no air bubbles. And then here I'm going to use that last little bit of the dark gray and put it along the edge. Now that I've gotten all of that out, we are going to take the smaller little spatula and we are going to go ahead and do a very light swoop top. And that looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to clean up the edges there. I'm going to go ahead and spray with rubbing alcohol to keep the soda ash down. And we are all done. There is the tobacco and bay leaf. Smells so good. Thank you for watching and you have a wonderful day. Bye.